Hey there. Real talk for a second. How early is too early to put up Christmas decorations? Because I may or may not have played Christmas music on the way from picking up my kids the other day, and I regret absolutely nothing about it. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Loose Threads and Stitches. This is your favorite corner of the internet where quilting meets cozy chaos and some seasonal joy. I am Christen. I'm your host, your quilting bestie, and today we're going to talk about that weird little seasonal no man's land right after Halloween. You know, the one where like your pumpkin decor is kind of still lingering around the house, but part of you is already mentally stitching up all of the Christmas stockings, wanting to make everything handmade and going into complete and total overdrive. So new episodes to this podcast drop weekly. So make sure that you're following this show so you don't miss out any of the quilty goodness that I have to share. So Halloween in 2025 is behind us. Maybe you or your kids overdosed on mini Snickers. There's no judgment here, but now we're entering what I like to call the great seasonal pivot. Okay. It happens every single year at my house and probably your house too. Maybe you may call it something different. Okay. It's that stretch of time where you still have your pumpkin scented candles burning because it smells so nice in fall, right? But you also are side-eyeing the peppermint mocha creamer and watching for it in the grocery stores and trying to get it so it can be in your fridge like ASAP. Quite honestly, I'm waiting for the eggnog. Okay. I love eggnog and I love the peppermint mocha creamer in my coffee. It can feel like somebody absolutely pressed the fast forward button on life, and I'm all for it. Okay. But what if, and hear me out on this season isn't meant to be rushed? What if this season is meant to be savored instead? Okay. This episode is your official invitation, and it's just kind of a casual chat between you and me. I'm just kind of rattling off some of my thoughts here, and I would love to hear what you think about it as well. But this episode is going to be your official invitation to resist super crash fueled chaos and instead lean in all the way into the slow, cozy, intentional joy of the holidays. The first way that you can do that is to reclaim the spark with a low stakes project. Okay, start with something tiny, something that doesn't come with a deadline, isn't a Pinterest perfect plan. Maybe it's a mug rug using your favorite fall scraps. Okay, maybe it's just practicing your free motion quilting on a sandwich that will never see the light of day again. Okay, it doesn't matter. The goal isn't to just finish, the goal is to feel. Okay, I want you to put on your softest socks. You can warm up a cup of something delicious and spend, I don't know, let's say like 20 minutes just playing with fabric. You can stitch without a goal. I know, insane, right? That's crazy for some of us. Stitch without a goal, and you can sew for the pure joy of it, and give yourself permission to be messy, to be silly, to be unfinished if that's what it takes. Okay, these low stakes projects are like vitamins for your creativity, if you want to think of them that way. They can remind you why you started quilting in the first place. And it's not about perfection, but it's about peace. Does that make sense? Like, it's not about perfection in these slow stitch projects. It's about peace. The second thing that you can do is you can swap out the spooky for the snuggly. Yes, I worked hard coming up with these cute little titles for each tip that I have for you. Okay. So now is the time to bring out your comfort collection. The flannels, the plaids, that thick, nubby, woven fabric that you've been saving for just the right project. Okay. So transition your sewing space For a season, it can work. I do this quite often with my sewing room because I know when seasons are going to be really, really busy and when seasons are going to be a little bit lighter for me. And it can really work wonders for your mood in between. Okay. So if you're transitioning for a cozy season, light a candle that smells like cinnamon or baked apples. I also use my essential oil diffusers a lot because sometimes I'm not real good at remembering that the candle cannot be lit when I'm not in the room. Okay. So make sure you stay safe. That's another tip free for you. Replace your thread catcher with one that makes you smile. Okay. Something new, something, get a favorite mug that you like never like to wash, like those ones that are hand wash only, but are super cute. That can be a thread catcher for you. Okay. You can lay out a few cozy prints of fabric where you can see them. Even if you're not using them yet, they can still totally be decor in your sewing room simply because they make you happy. It also creates visual warmth. And this visual warmth is, it's more of a feeling than an actual term, I think, but it creates emotional warmth as well. Okay. So emotional warmth is what carries us through the gray, chilly days of November, no matter where you live. Okay. It doesn't get cold too often here in Texas, but we've had a few days where it's just that brisk, chilly air comes through and it's wonderful. Okay. I personally love those cold, chilly days because I love to sit and sew during those cold, chilly days. I don't typically love to do all of my errands on those days, but when you're bringing in that visual warmth that creates emotional warmth, it really helps you get through those days. And especially if you're like up in the north where there's not a whole lot of daylight and there's not a whole lot of sunshine, it's a lot of cloudy days, bringing in that visual warmth can really help you through like kind of the sad months of the end of the year, right? Where it's so cold. The third tip that I have for you is permission to slow down. Let me say this with all the love in my heart, okay? You are allowed to go slow. Full stop. No other explanations needed. You don't have to be in a full-blown holiday prep mode. No matter what media says, no matter what the people next door are doing, no matter what all of the marketing in the stores and all of that who are trying to get you to fall into that trap of, I got an email the other day that like Black Friday starts now. Well, it's not really a Black Friday, is it anymore? It's like a Black November. Like literally Black Friday starts now. That's a topic for another day. Okay. We'll talk about that another time because, I don't like being made to feel rushed. Okay. You don't have to churn out 10 quilts in 6 weeks. And I know people who do that and they love it. But if that's not your style, you don't have to transform your house into like a winter wonderland by November 3rd. Seriously, you have nothing to prove to anybody. And if you love doing that and that's in your heart and that brings you joy, that's wonderful. Please continue to do what brings you joy. But if it's just not in the cards for you right now, that's okay too. Okay. So when it comes to quilting, it's not just another like box on your to-do list. It's your anchor, okay? Allow it to be your anchor. You can exhale with it, okay? It is your permission slip to just pause on everything chaotic in life, all right? If you want to spend an hour just reorganizing your fat quarters while listening to a Hallmark movie in the background, do it. Absolutely do it. Sometimes in the holidays, I like to do a lot of baking. So I will do baking and quilting at the same time. And, baking takes a long time because you have to do the cookies like a dozen at a time. And if you're baking a lot of cookies, That's a lot of oven time. So I'll do the quilting. I'll set the timer. I'll come back. I'll do some quilting and some sewing or some rearranging and organizing of my space, which, by the way, that I'm starting to feel the bug to like reorganize my space again, but that's off topic again. Okay. But whatever you feel like doing, do it, because this season isn't supposed to be about speed. This season is about soaking it all in. All of the good things in life. And I know there's good things in life in summer too, okay? But I think that, you can really soak it in if you are just aware of yourself and your time, and you're not letting yourself feel like you have to give in to the hustle and bustle of the holidays, right? The fourth tip that I have for you is to choose one focus project. Now, I know a lot of people go in to the year in January and they're like, I'm going to make everybody in my family a quilt for Christmas. How cool is that? I have 12 months. This will totally be easy. And then when like June, July, August hit, that's when things start to get a little bit nerve-wracking. Like, oh, this is not as easy as I thought. I thought I had plenty of time. Okay. So if that's you, I'm going to tell you right now, it's perfectly acceptable to give an IOU. It's also perfectly acceptable to change your mind. Okay. So let's talk about like why my fourth tip is to choose one focus project. Okay. And that really has to do with overwhelm, because when the weather cools down, somehow like the pressure around us heats up. Like I was talking about, the hustle and bustle of the holidays. You have gift lists that you have to fill out. You have social events. You have work deadlines. You have school stuff happening, or like grandkids stuff happening, or multiple parties to plan for, bake sale things happening. There's so many craft shows that I want to go to because I love seeing all of the handmade stuff, right? And of course, there is the never-ending scroll of inspiration that makes you feel like you should be doing more decorations, more wild and out there, more fun, more joy, more excitement, more gift giving, more generosity, all of that. It makes you feel like you should be doing more. And you know what? I'm just going to say nope to that. Just nope. That's it. Like, that's a full and complete sentence. We are not going to do that this year. I don't want any of that type of pressure. Okay. So I want you to pick one project, just one thing that will make you feel happy and grounded to work on. It can be small. It can be big. It can be old, it can be new, but it needs to be something that you're genuinely excited about, not obligated to work on, not guilt-stitched into creating, but something that you're excited about. And then I want you to let that be your lighthouse, okay? This is your go-to when the rest of life feels hectic. Let it ground you. You can touch other projects because obviously I'm not the boss of you, okay? You can touch them. You can work on other projects if you want. But this one project that I'm asking you to pick, this is your joy project. And the rest, those are just bonus stitches, baby. Those are just like bonus pluses in life that get done, okay? So make sure that you focus on that one project. The fifth tip that I have for you is to stitch with a friend. So let's not forget that quilting was never meant to be a solo sport. Whether you are like with the local sewing group, a Zoom stitching session, or you're just texting a friend a picture of your wonky block with the caption, nailed it. Connecting is what keeps us going in this art. Okay. So reach out, invite somebody to stitch with you. It could even be virtually. Okay. It could even be every Tuesday night, you and another friend know that you're sewing together, apart, but together in spirit, or, you could make a standing date. You could do Saturday morning coffee and binding, or you could do Wednesday night chain piecing and chatting. I could come up with all of the cute little date night titles that you want, right? But these little rituals are what bring us back to the heart of this craft, which is community. Nobody else needs to get it, okay? Nobody else needs to have that explained to them. We get it. And that's more than enough for me personally. You get it. I get it. That's all there is, right? The sixth tip that I have for you is to embrace the cozy season on purpose. This goes a little bit beyond just the quilting bubble, okay? But like your passions in life definitely bleed out into the other parts of your world, right? So this is your permission slip to romanticize the heck out of this season. You can make yourself a fall-inspired sewing ritual, okay? Love this. So you can have tea in your favorite mug, or you can put on a cozy playlist. You can have a throw quilt over you on your lap while you are working, okay? Let it feel indulgent. Let it feel delicious. You don't have to earn your rest during this season. You don't have to get through this season. You don't have to finish something just because you feel like your time is closing in, or like the time for your goal is closing in, especially if you committed to like those 12 quilts by the end of the year. Okay. You can simply enjoy being surrounded by the beauty and texture and the slow magic of making something by hand, because really it is magical. Even if you have a quilt kit that you purchased online, everything that you make is one of a kind. There's nobody else that's going to have something like that. And as artists, you are creating the world that you are surrounded by. And I mean, if that's not the definition of magic, I don't really know what is, right? So if today's episode gave you a little boost, would you please do me a favor? Would you share it with a friend who needs to hear these words too? Or you can just drop a comment down below and tell me, is it too early for Christmas music yet? Or are you blasting all of the Michael Bublé Christmas music with zero shame like I am, okay? Let's make this season slow, savory, and full of soul stitches, one cozy block at a time. Friend, you don't have to do it all. You don't have to make 100 gifts or redecorate your entire house by November 15th, okay? What you do have to do is keep your joy front and center. Give yourself grace, because sometimes this season is hard for us humans. It is. There's a lot of joy and there's a lot of sorrow that goes with that joy, okay? So give yourself grace to feel what you feel and to take care of yourself during this season. Choose the slowness over pressure. And remember that quilting is not just a hobby. It's a sanctuary for your mind and for your hands as well. So when life feels like it is speeding up, pause, choose to slow down, okay? When the world gets loud, go make something quiet. And when you feel completely overwhelmed, come back to your fabric. You can come back to this video and sit here and chat with me, okay? Go back to your fabric. Go back to your hands. Go back to the rhythm of the things that you know, all right? I'm so glad that you spent part of your week with me. I want you to take a deep breath. Go pet your fabric. Light that pretty little candle, and I will see you next week on Loose Threads and Stitches. I'm Christen with ICStarsQuilting.com. Don't forget to follow this podcast so that you never miss an episode. And if you loved today's chat, please go ahead and leave a comment down below. Share it with a stitching soul who could use a little bit more joy, because I have so many more things to share. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.